Good morning. I think I'm live. It tells me I'm live. Although I do look a bit blurry, don't I? I hope that clears up in a minute. I've still got that kind of whirly blue loading screen, so maybe it's still thinking about it, and that's why I look blurry. Either that, or I need to clean my camera. Okay, I'm gonna hope that I get less blurry. Maybe I'm only blurry to me. Anyway, um, lovely to be here. It's been a while since I've gone live on my page. So I posted, you may have seen the other day, that I have kind of made a commitment to start going live every week. So you can expect to see me this time every week. So 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, in case you're watching this in the replay. 10 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. UK time, of course, and I will be popping here live to share something business related. Usually, so the kind of framework that I teach, the kind of I'm all about helping people get clients, and the key things that I focus on when I'm working with clients and helping them with this are your offer and making sure that you have an offer that is magnetic, attractive to your ideal clients, your messaging, so making sure that the things that you are talking about are also, going to help you to attract your ideal clients. Your visibility, so helping you to build an audience in a way that feels natural and fun. And what else have we got? Lead generation, so kind of relationship building. So essentially, in order to get a client, you're taking people on a journey. So in its simplest form, the job of your marketing is simply to do that, is to take people on this journey. The first part of that journey is where they just don't know that you exist yet. So the first job of your marketing is to help them find you. Have a swig of water. Hi to whoever's watching live, by the way. Say hello. The next job of your marketing is to build relationships. So that's another kind of core fundamental that I work on with people, is how, again, to build relationships online. It can sometimes feel really difficult. And how we can build trust, how we can build those connections, nurture those relationships. The next thing I work on with people is sales. So how to actually convert that audience, turn those relationships into paying clients, and then also mindset. With all the strategy in the world, if your mindset isn't there, if you're kind of struggling with self-doubt, if you don't believe in what you do, if you don't believe in what you're selling, and we're going to be covering that a little bit in today's session, then you're going to struggle to get clients. So mindset is a really, really important one as well. So this session is all about your pricing. One of the most common challenges that I think business owners, and especially mum business owners, who are my kind of target market, struggle with, is this idea of pricing and working out how much to charge, and constantly battling against this worry that, you're charging too much, you're charging too little, and so on. So I wanted to come and chat, and this is a subject I've talked about a lot, about why you should be charging more. So this is for you if you know at the moment that you are not charging enough. If deep down you're kind of like, I just don't feel like I'm charging enough. I don't feel like I'm charging my worth. Perhaps you're starting to feel a bit resentful about it. Then hopefully this is going to be really useful for you. By the way, if you see me doing this and like looking down, it's because I've got notes, so I don't forget what I'm talking about. This is also for you if you feel like, if anything, you should be reducing your prices, because one of the most common objections you're getting is, I can't afford it. Believe it or not, there is still an argument for you to increase your prices, and I'll kind of take you through that in a minute. And it's also for you if you do want to charge more and you just want to know how to go about it without feeling sick about upping your prices. So if any of that sounds like you, stick around. And for those of you watching live, and if you are watching in the replay, I would love to know, on a scale of, let's say, 1 to 5, with 1 being my prices, I just don't like, my prices are wrong, it doesn't feel right. Either I feel like I'm charging way too much, or I feel like I'm charging way too little. And 5 being, I've absolutely nailed my prices, totally happy with them. Where would you put yourself on a scale to 1 to 5 of 1 to 5 when it comes to your pricing? I'd be really interested to know. So let me take you through my 5 reasons why you're not charging enough. So number one is that um, your pricing is basically what you're telling other people you value your services at. So when we undercharge, we're essentially telling our audience to undervalue us. And I think we deep down we kind of have a sense of whether we're undercharging or not. Usually, you'll have even it might be very deep down, but you'll have a sense of, I'm probably worth more than this, or even if it's like I would like to be charging more than this. Sorry, by the way, but my hair looks slightly like I've actually literally been through a hedge backwards today. It's because I'm going with the kind of curly look, but I've run out of argan oil, and so it just goes from curly to like fluffy. So there we go. Oh. So yeah, and I think this is one that we don't necessarily consider, and hopefully it might be a bit of a light bulb moment for you. But that price that you have chosen is what you are putting out into the world that your services are worth. And if that doesn't feel good, then that's probably a sign that you're not charging enough. If you're kind of yeah, but that it's worth so much more actually. I just can't bring myself to charge that much because I'm scared, either no one will buy or it just feels really wrong or for whatever reason. And interesting actually, those are the 2 reasons, generally speaking. It's either one or both of those reasons why we won't put our prices up. We either are afraid that if we put our prices up, no one's going to buy it because it will be too expensive, or it just feels wrong. There's something in us telling us that no, if I put my prices up, that's wrong. It's greedy. It's not being affordable, which I shall be talking about in one of my other points. Those tend to be the 2 biggies, and it might be both of them for you or it might be one of them, but tends to be, if we're not charging enough, it's for one or both of those reasons. So Nan says, I don't have prices yet, so I'm thinking about how much to ask. Okay, let me I'll quickly address that because I hadn't sort of got that in here, but that's a really interesting question, and obviously it's something that a lot of people struggle with, is initially how much to charge. And one thing I would say right off the bat is don't listen to what anyone else thinks about your prices. And the reason I say that is everyone has their own money baggage. Everyone has their own, previous experiences, money beliefs, this, that, and the other that they're bringing to the table. And whatever number you choose for your pricing, someone will think it's too expensive. You can guarantee that 100%. Equally, as sure is that someone will think it's too cheap. So the only way to price, in my opinion, is to go with a number that feels right for you. What do you want to charge? What would make you feel good? And by that, I don't mean wouldn't it feel amazing to earn 1 million, so charge 1 million? You have to know that it would feel good to sell it at that price. So what to you would feel good? What would be a good price to receive, and what would be a good price to sell at? And if you can find that balance, that's a good place to start. Now, what you'll probably find is, especially if you by the sounds of it, you're new, or it's a new service perhaps. Early on when we haven't launched something yet, we don't, the confidence around that service is still fairly low because we haven't got proven results yet, right? And so we're still kind of a bit like, and so what you'll probably find is, as you start to get proven results, as your confidence grows, you'll have the confidence to then gradually build up your prices. So one thing, while I'm here kind of saying, you should put your prices up, one thing I never tell clients to do is like, you should double your prices, triple your prices, because that's a really big jump and it's a really big ask. From a mindset, mindset is so important, and you have to believe in your prices. You have to believe in the value of your service so that those things match. If you believe that, it makes it an easy sell. If you don't believe that, that's what creates that kind of icky feeling, is when we feel like we're selling something that actually we don't believe the value in, the value and the price match, then that creates this sort of ickiness. So you want to find that that amount that kind of finds that balance for you, if that makes sense. Let me know if there's any kind of follow-up questions on that. But okay, so let me come back from my diversion. So number one is all around remembering that the price that you put on your services is what you're telling other people is the value of those services. So if you are underpricing, you are essentially telling people to undervalue you. Okay, so number two, if you price what you're worth, you will show up better. When we undercharge for our services, there's a few things that happen. First of all, it means we need to work with more people in order to hit our income goals. So we're working harder, we're probably working more hours, we're probably tired, we're probably feeling quite overwhelmed, and we're probably going to get a bit frazzled. We may even get to the point of burnout. Hopefully, worst case scenario, that does happen to people. So that's one thing that happens, is you are not going to be showing up with the same energy, with the same enthusiasm, and essentially the same value as you would if you were charging your worth and protecting your time. Another thing that happens is when we know that we're not charging our worth, we get resentful, because that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to be providing a service and not feeling like you are getting paid your value. It feels pretty crappy. And so what happens is, maybe not straight away, but eventually you will start to get resentful about that. And that will also impact how you show up for your clients. So that's another one. We think that it's so easy to kind of fall into this trap of the less I charge, the kinder I'm being. There is this kind of really off rhetoric around, I don't want to charge a lot because, personally, I'm a good person. So why, I don't want to make people pay a lot to experience my services. And that's all well and good. And I think often this is coming from a genuine place. But that isn't necessarily what happens. When you don't charge a lot, as we've just talked about, you don't show up with the same energy. You are burned out. You're working with a lot of people. If you're, in order to hit your income goals, you are feeling resentful because you're not earning your worth. And the same is also true for your clients. So this brings me nicely into point number 3, which is when you charge more, your clients get better results. And that's not just because you are showing up with more energy, although as we've seen that is also the case, but it's because they show up with more commitment and more energy. When you put a lot of, when you've made a big investment, you make sure that you show up. You are committed to getting that result. So when you work with clients who are prepared to make a big investment, those are the clients who are going to get the best results. And says, I want to sell bracelets that would normally be around $20 to $25. I would love to sell them for $35 because I will use plastic-free packaging. And the bracelets will have a beautiful background story to help women step into their power. Your words definitely make sense. Thank you. Good. I'm glad they do. I have to say, product sales is not my strong point. I work with service-based businesses, but yeah, the same. A lot of these theories will still apply for products, and you're absolutely right. Absolutely, someone who cares about the environment and buying consciously around being responsible environmentally is going to be okay with paying an extra $10 if that means it's more environmentally safe. And equally, often, our story, this is a whole other workshop, but our story is so important, and it is a lot of what makes people buy from us. So actually having that there as well is really helpful and important. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I just hit number 3, which is around your clients getting better results. So we've got so far, number 1, your price is what you're telling other people you value your services at. So it's really important that you price according to how you feel you're worth. Number 2, you will show up better when you charge your worth. because you will have you won't need to work with as many people, so you'll have more energy, more time to be kind of creative and all of that good stuff. But you'll also you won't be resentful. You'll be able to show up, passionately, excitedly, and really give 100%. And then thirdly, your clients will be the same. When your clients have made a big investment, they will be committed to getting the results that they're paying for, and therefore will be more likely to get better results. So number four. So number four is where I wanted to talk about affordability. So I kind of touched on affordability earlier on, and now I kind of just want to go into this idea of affordability in a bit more detail. So I hear an awful lot people talking about wanting to be affordable, and on the surface, very admirable. Yeah, that's great. How lovely to want to be affordable. That's great. But when you dig into that idea of affordability, you start to realise that it's a tough one to get to grips with. That actually, what is affordability? Because what's affordable to me is totally different to what's affordable to someone else and to someone else. For me, I might think, okay, well, if I'm going to buy a pair of trousers, I'm going to spend, I'll probably usually spend like 50 quid, on a pair of trousers. There'll be someone else who would happily spend £500 on a pair of trousers, and there'd be someone else who's, not going to spend more than a tenner on a pair of trousers. And, and that is all, valid, and that all comes from our own kind of money experiences, our priorities, our, and all this kind of money baggage that we have. So when you try to make your pricing affordable, you are on a losing battle, my friends, because whatever number you choose, whatever number feels affordable to you, doesn't feel affordable to someone else, and feels way too cheap to someone else. So whatever you try to pick pricing on the basis of being affordable, you're going to struggle, because as I say, someone's going to look at you and go, how much? That's way too much still. And someone else is going to look at it and kind of go, that seems a bit cheap. I'm a bit suspicious about that. It's probably not very good. So I'm going to go with someone else. And so whenever, you have to find another way to choose your pricing. And so as I kind of touched on with you, Nan, your pricing has to come from you. And this is also why we have to stop worrying about what other people are going to think of our pricing. We have to stop doing that thing where we look at what other people are charging. It doesn't matter what other people are charging. They're not doing, they're not you. And the type of people that they're attracting aren't necessarily your ideal clients. So I found this a lot. So before I was business coaching, I did some copywriting work. And, it is incredible, the range of pricing that you will see if you are looking for a copywriter. If you go onto something like Fiverr, you will find copywriters who will charge you an absolute pittance. They'll be doing like a 10,000 word article for like, $10 or something, which, how the hell they make a living from that, I have no idea. But there are people, who are charging that little. And then you'll equally, when I worked in corporate, which was now, 5-6 years ago, there were people, we were hiring copywriters for £1,000 a day, and that's, there'll be people charging more than that as well. So, there will always be a wide range. And if you try and sort of fit in with the cheapest, you're on a race to the bottom. You have to charge what you feel you are worth. You have to charge what you want to earn. And you have to believe that there are people out there for whom that is the perfect price for them. Because the perfect price, globally does not exist. It depends on the person as to what their perfect price is. So you have to find your perfect price and then trust that there are enough people out there for whom that is their perfect price as well, if that makes sense. So that's number 4, this idea of affordability just being really a bit of a myth. And what's affordable to you is not affordable to someone else and is way too cheap for someone else. So stop kind of looking outward for your pricing and start looking inward as to how much you want to charge, how much you feel is a good price for the service that you're providing. Okay, and then my very last reason to charge more, or reason why you're not charging enough, is because until you put your prices up, you will never be able to prove to yourself that you can. We kind of sometimes can get into this vicious cycle. Essentially, I think a lot about pricing is around confidence, right? It's about, as I touched on earlier, the two main reasons why we don't charge more is, number one, we don't think people will pay us if we charge it. If we don't think people will buy if we charge more, and that is around confidence, right? Because essentially what that's saying is, I don't think my service is worth more. I don't think what I'm doing is worth more. So if I charge more, people won't pay that. So that's around confidence, right? And the second reason is this idea of charging more being wrong. And to a certain extent, that's also about confidence. That's about taking on board this rhetoric that being salesy is being pushy, which ultimately comes from like negative sales. Of course, there are like pushy, sleazy sales tactics, and I've talked a lot about this recently over in my group, and this kind of what kind of values led sales looks like, and how sales in itself is not wrong and is not pushy. It's just certain tactics. But what we've done is we've kind of taken on board this whole mantle of sales being, like, all sales being wrong, and so and pricing too much it being wrong. And if we feel like we're pricing too much, then oftentimes that is, again, a confidence thing. It's around, well, I don't think my service is worth very much. And so the only way we can prove ourselves wrong in that is if we try and we kind of go, okay, well, maybe it is worth a bit more. Maybe I'm going to take that risk, and see if actually people would be prepared to pay a little bit more. And like I said, earlier, I would never kind of recommend people to kind of suddenly double their prices or massively increase their prices, because that's a very difficult jump to make from a mindset perspective. But that you can absolutely make small incremental increases, matching your kind of comfort levels, and see how far you get. It's exciting. I was going to say something else, and it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. I can't think what it was. No, it's gone. How annoying! How annoying. But yeah, so those are my 5 reasons. I hope it's given you some light bulb moments. I would love to know if it has. And of course, I will be back next week with another training. If you haven't already come and joined my group, Fully Booked Mums, do come and join us. It's a lovely group. We've got just under 900 people in there now. It's super friendly. There are lots of opportunities to network, to promote your business. We have things like open mic days where you can do Facebook Lives in the group to chat about your business and what you do. We have all sorts of stuff like that. This week we've got a G&T Q&A, that's tomorrow evening. So it's a really fun group to be in. I also do weekly workshops inside the group, which are slightly more kind of in-depth than the ones I do here on the page. So yeah, would love to see you there. I will pop a link in the comments, but it's called Fully Booked Mums, so it's super easy to find. And I will see you next week, so take care.